The number one question I am asked after someone learns the basics of tapping, and it's not even close, is what are the tapping phrases I should be using for insert issue? And I understand and I appreciate that question. So today what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to teach you my favorite way to come up with phrases. And the best part about this little tool is you already know how to do this. This is Monterastelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 600, originally aired February 28th, 2024. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to join me. Thanks for spending a little time with me. Now, one of the really common experiences people have when they learn to tap is they're working with a class, they're working with a practitioner, they're watching a video. And as they're going through it, there are these phrases, there are these words that just resonate, and they create healing and they create transformation, and it's amazing. And after you have that amazing experience, you want to try it on your own. And so you sit down and you have an issue to tap on, and your mind goes blank because you don't know how to come up with these perfect, amazing, magical phrases. And so I'm going to let you in on a dirty little secret, and then I'm going to teach you a really cool tool. The dirty little secret is the tapping phrases that your teacher, that your practitioner, that the tapping video that you just watched, those aren't actually magical phrases. Instead, what is happening is the person leading you through the tapping is sharing lots and lots of things. And so over a round of tapping, I might tap through 3 times. That's 21 phrases. And at the end of working with a client, after I've used 21 phrases, they go, "Gene, you're brilliant when you said this one thing." And what they're doing inside of that is, without even realizing it, is they're deleting the other 20 things that I said that weren't useful. Because what happens is the phrases that are not useful just go by as white noise, and we don't hear them. It's almost like the conversation that's happening in a coffee shop on the other side where you know someone's talking, but you're able to tune them out because your brain recognizes that conversation isn't useful. The same is true when the words that a practitioner are using are coming at you. You only remember the release. You only remember the words that resonate with you. And so they have a framework, they have structure. I'm doing this in a thoughtful way when I'm leading my clients, but I know most of the things I'm saying are not going to resonate perfectly with them. And so once we recognize that, then it liberates us not to come up with perfect magical words. And so I'm going to share with you my favorite trick, my favorite approach, my favorite tactic. Before I do that, if you are new to tapping and you have no idea what I'm talking about, all you need to do is follow the little red arrow in the upper right-hand corner. That will take you to learntotap.com, where you will learn the basics of this amazing tool so that when you see what I'm going to show you right now, you can use it in a much more effective way. So the tool I want to teach you today is something that I just refer to as self-coaching. And you're going to see why we call it self-coaching in just a moment. And so there are 2 steps to this particular process, which are going to help us to come up with the words that we're going to tap on. So we're going to tap the entire time. Okay. So what you do is you choose the area of your life that you want to do tapping on. It's struggle with losing weight. It's frustration at work. It's wanting to change jobs. It's wanting to live more authentically. It's self-sabotage in the morning, whatever it is. So the first part, what you do is you describe what is going on in detail, and you share how that makes you feel. So what you're going to do is you're going to pretend you're sitting down with a friend and you're catching up. You haven't talked to them in a while, and you're frustrated about what's going on. And you just, again, share the details, give the emotion. Every single morning I'm getting up, I have this great plan, and by the time I walk out the door, I'm already late. And because I'm already late, I'm frustrated, I'm frantic, I can't focus on what's important. You're sharing the details. You're sharing your emotional response. You're sharing the details. You're sharing your emotional response. The entire time you're tapping, tap, 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 as you work your way through it. Then, after you've finished doing this, what you're now going to do is you're now going to pretend a friend of yours has just said all of those things to you. And what you're going to do as you keep tapping is you're going to respond to your friend. It's not the biggest deal. You can manage it. A mistake isn't the end of the world. Like whatever reframes that you would give. And then you go back to your side of the story. And after you get that information, you continue to describe what's going on and how you're feeling. And then you imagine a friend said that to you and you go back to the other side. And so it's called self-coaching because you're the one that's doing the coaching as you go back and forth. But the reason this works is because there is this really amazing power of disassociation. When we are not in the middle of something, we immediately have more clarity over the big picture, and we immediately have more clarity about other options and reframes and things in more dimensions. And so when I think of my own life as someone else's life, all of a sudden I have all of these great pieces of advice. And I have no idea why this is the case. I just know it firsthand, and I hear it from my clients all the time. When I'm in the middle of something, you've probably done this. You have probably gotten a piece of advice from someone who said, I tell my clients, I tell my friends that all the time. I know that to be true. For whatever reason, when it's coming from the inside, we have a harder time recognizing it. We have a harder time believing it. We have a harder time finding that piece of information. So, by giving yourself permission to think about it as someone else, all of a sudden, insight, information, new ways of thinking about it show up. So it really is that simple. The next time you are sitting down to tap and you're struggling with what words you need to say, imagine 2 chairs. Imagine you are sitting in one chair and you're sharing everything that is going on in your life and the emotion that you're feeling. And then imagine yourself sitting in the other chair and sharing advice and insight and consolation and encouragement and everything that you'd be saying to a friend. And as you tap on that, somewhere inside of it, you're going to find the tapping phrase that is the one that you need to hear. You're going to find the reframe that is the one you're going to need to hear. And just like when you're working with a practitioner where they're giving you lots of phrases until one lands where exactly right for you, the exact same thing is going to happen in this process. And so it creates a little container, it creates safety. And like I said, you already know how to give advice. If you're doing this transformational stuff, you're probably the helper in your friends' lives. You're used to people coming to you and asking you for advice. This is an opportunity for you to use that skill and just offer it to yourself by thinking about it in that way. So if you enjoyed this little bitty tool on the screen right now, you can see a link to a bunch of other tools. Click on that playlist, dive deeper into tapping. If you got questions, support at tappingqanda.com, and I look forward to talking to you next time.